Good morning and welcome to Walk Before You Run. I think it's still morning. Yep, it's still morning. Today, I want to talk to you some more about wisdom. Remember the other day we talked about Solomon's wisdom, and that sometimes if you have that wisdom and you get the big head, how you can make mistakes. So make sure that in that wisdom that God gives you, that you continue to follow Him. Well, and I also told you that there was some more you could read about. And today I want to just take a look at that. And this is wisdom on display. When you ask God for wisdom, other people can see that wisdom. So today I'd like for you to turn to First Kings chapter 3 and skip all the way down to verse 16. Then came there two women that were harlots unto the king and stood before him. And the one woman said, O my Lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the third day after that I was delivered, that this woman was delivered also. And we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save we two in the house. And this woman's child died in the night because she overlaid it. And she arose at midnight and took my son from beside me, while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. And when I rose in the morning to give my child suck, behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son, which I did bear. And the other woman said, Nay, but the living is my son, and the dead is thy son. And this said, No, but the dead is thy son, and the living is my son. Thus they spake before the king. Then said the king, who is Solomon, the one said, This is my son that liveth, and thy son is dead. And the other said, Nay, but thy son is the dead, and my son is the living. And the king said, Bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, Divide the living child in two, and give half to one and half to the other. Then spake the woman. Which woman do you think is going to speak up? King Solomon's wisdom shows really bright at this time because no one was in the house but the two women. They shared that information. And remember, God had already told Solomon that he would give him wisdom, because that's what Solomon wanted more than anything in the world, is to know how to discern right from wrong and how to be a good judge, to judge a matter. Because sometimes we allow our feelings, what we think, how we feel about a situation, or how we feel about a person, to cloud our judgment. But Solomon was wise enough to have already asked God for wisdom, and here for the whole world to see, or at least the people in the court to see, God's wisdom on display. They get a chance to see how he is going to handle this matter, because some people would have perhaps looked at the baby and looked at both parents to see which one the baby looked like, or perhaps someone else may have taken a baby away from both of them and considered them both unfit mothers because the word says that they were harlots. But not Solomon. He had already asked for wisdom. And see, that's the key. We have to ask for wisdom all the time, because you never know when you're going to need that wisdom of God to come through for you. Because if we rely on our own wisdom, we can mess up anytime. But if you ask God to show you what to say, show you what to do, show you what to feel, show you what not to listen to, and show you what to listen to, he'll never make a mistake. So let's read on. Verse 26. says, Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels, and that word just means for her compassion for her son, yearned upon her son. And she said, Oh, my Lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, Yeah, let it be neither mine nor hers, but divided. And Solomon was sitting there listening because he knew that as a compassionate mom, you'd rather give your child away than to see something like that happen to your child. And so the true mom was willing to give that child away, which was noticed by Solomon. He had that wisdom that he had asked God for on display at this moment. This mom says, but this mom says, please don't kill my child. Please don't kill the baby. I tell you what, just give the baby to the other woman. But this other woman whose child was already dead said, oh yeah, let's divide it up. 27 says, then the king answered and said, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother thereof. Remember, I told you at the beginning that he had already prayed for wisdom, and he used that wisdom. And now I told you this wisdom was on display. Listen to this last verse. It says, and all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God, not the wisdom of Solomon, even though it was Solomon who displayed this wisdom, they knew that this was not the wisdom of Solomon, but the wisdom of God. And they said, they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to do judgment. Ain't that just like God? Now you can do a matter in secret because you're not doing it for anybody to notice. You're just trying to do the right thing at the right time because it's just in you from God to do that right thing. But isn't it just like God that when you are sincere in whatever you're doing, God would put it on display? You don't have to put it on display. If you're using the wisdom of God, God will put that wisdom on display, because Solomon didn't call everybody and say, hey, y'all, come here. Let me show y'all what I'm going to do. Hey, come here. Let me show you how wise I am. He didn't have to do that. He just judged the matter as God instructed him to judge it. And it was right. And it blew their minds. And God himself put it on display, because it says that the whole of Israel heard about it. And then look at how beautiful this is. They heard about the wisdom that Solomon used, but it was all for the glory of God, because God got the glory. Because it says right here that they saw that the wisdom of God was in him to do judgment. And so it's good when you use what God gives you, and then God gets the glory for it. So again, this morning, I tell you to walk through his word. This was good. I told you guys. I hope you had already read it. And if you didn't, there's lots more in 1 Kings to discover that will make you smile. So I'm telling you right now, walk through his word before you run off and enjoy what he has in store for you. And remember that you are blessed. Make sure you are a blessing to someone else. And thank you, my Nisi Poo. I see your comment. I do want to tell you guys that if you'd like to live chat any morning that I'm on here, feel free. But I'll see you again next time. And before I go today, I know it's not your birthday, but I want to tell you happy birthday, my friend, because I know today you're celebrating. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.